What's good, YouTube? Dom Steven Sports Cards here, back with another video. Hope you're all doing well. Just wanted to hop on here quick and give you an overview of my experience this past weekend from the Cranston Show in Rhode Island. For those of you that aren't familiar with the Cranston Show, it actually has really deep roots, and it was one of the first regular card shows started in the Northeast. Ryan Nolan from Breakout Cards did an awesome job interviewing the showrunner, getting that history, as well as showing his experience with his great camera workers and everything that went on there. So I'm going to leave a link to that in the description below. Definitely check that out if you're anywhere local and interested in kind of the vibe of the show and things of that nature. My experience was great, and that was mainly because I was hanging out with a great friend, Jim at Picker Jim S. Jim, welcome to the YouTube Sports Card Hall of Fame. I know I told you in person, but part of an amazing class. Lou and Bob from Lou Rock TV, James from Elite Hunters, Scott Ranger Studios, and of course, Bradley Claus. So really awesome. All five of you, more than deserving. If any of you didn't get in when I was eligible to vote next year, I would have definitely had you on my ballot. So I'm happy I don't even have to use the spot on you guys. I can dig deeper to some guys that I think are deserving as well. You guys were all no-brainers. Jim and I, we took the ride over to Cranston. It wasn't that far from his house. I actually had a much further drive from my house to his than we did from his house to Cranston. But it was well worth it. We met up with two great community members. Mark Hoyle, who's a big Red Sox fan. I had the pleasure of meeting him at the Shriner show that I went to with Jim in the fall. But we really got to talk and get to know each other a little bit this time. And he knows I'm a Hall of Fame guy. He gave me this print of all the Cleveland Hall of Famers, including my guy Frank Robinson right there. So Mark, really appreciate the gifts and getting to talk to you, man. It was a pleasure. And Ed at Safe at Home Sports Cards, I got to meet him. Really cool guy. The four of us had a lot of great conversations, not just about cards, but about trips and different stories, both with the family and with friends. And it was just really awesome getting to grow closer to you guys and talk in front of people's tables during the show. Really had a great time. I got a lot of great stuff because this show, it didn't just have the vintage I wanted, it had the variety that someone that's not focused like me could want. There were so many different ways to go, so many different things that I could add to the collection, and I decided that instead of getting those vintage Topps cards that I see at my local show circuit all the time, that I would try to find some more obscure things or some good deals that I don't typically get at my local shows. And that started with some memorabilia pieces, I guess you would call them. I got this Willie Stargell bobblehead. Got the cool striped yellow cap. And these Hall of Fame figures and bobbleheads, when you can buy them in person, in hand, and just give them cash instead of having to pay for the shipping and tax that it costs for a box for one of these things, you're saving basically another figure or bobblehead. It's so crazy, and getting Hall of Famers, both bobbleheads, or in the other case, McFarlane's, I got this beautiful Johnny Bench. It's a great figure of him leaning over the fence to make a catch in foul territory, as well as the Ryan Express. Got him in an Angels uni. I know some people remember him as a Ranger or an Astro or even a New York Met, but he broke out with the Angels. That's when Nolan Ryan turned his career around and arrived, and my favorite cards of him are his Angel cards. But I also got a lot of great cards and autographs and stuff that I don't get to see typically. There's not a lot of football autographs around me locally. There's football cards, but the autos are all newer guys. And I got an autograph I've been wanting for a long time. Floyd Little. For those of you that don't know, Floyd Little, he's a Hall of Fame running back that actually is from New Haven, Connecticut. And I ran track for 3 years at the Floyd Little Athletic Center in New Haven. Someone that I've always looked up to, and outside of collecting Hall of Fame rookie cards and my Patriots players, he is someone that I'm always seeking out at card shows and at different times. So now I have an on-card Floyd Little autograph. He passed away a couple years ago. Super cool to have this from a great Upper Deck set. And the other autograph piece I got was more unique than that, and it's Orlando Cepeda. Now, I didn't have a Cepeda autograph. Shout out Lou Rock TV. But this is actually a metal piece of the garage door from the Green Monster at Fenway Park. The seller, in an auction from Fenway, bought pieces of the garage door, the metal, that was used at Fenway, and he cut it up and got it signed by former Red Sox players. Now, Orlando Cepeda, he's a Hall of Famer, but he only played 1 year with the Red Sox, 1973. It was the first year that they implemented the DH, and the Red Sox decided to bring in a Hall of Fame slugger to kind of jumpstart the use of the designated hitter. This is a really awesome piece. Orlando Cepeda is getting up there in age. I'm a huge fan of Hall of Fame autographs as well as Red Sox pieces, so this kind of checks a lot of boxes and was pretty reasonably priced. Especially with the JSA cert, I really can't complain. Really awesome piece for the PC there. And I did get a modern card. Don't boo me in the comments below. I was actually thinking about my Joe Morgan video of my Topps Proof from 1969 and talking about the fact that this could truly be a one-of-a-kind card. I didn't have a single card that was a one-of-one printed-wise. You know, like they're officially printed as a one-of-one. And while there are different versions of this card out there, I now own a one-of-one. And I have a John Lester yellow printing plate from 2013 Topps with his time with the Red Sox. It's a yellow. And now I have an official one-of-one in the collection. I don't know if John Lester will get into the Hall of Fame. He's a borderline case. Great story, recovering from cancer, and then helping the Red Sox win a couple World Series as a big game pitcher, and going over to the Cubs and helping them break their World Series drought. Great pitcher, one-of-one. I now have one if the Joe Morgan is not a one-of-one. I'm not going to be hunting a bunch of printing plates, but I've always thought as a kid, seeing people pull those and have them in their showcases, that's really cool. They make the cards from that. So I finally own one, and, you know, John Lester, one of my childhood favorites. I also, from the same dealer I bought the McFarlands, I was looking through a binder he had with a couple pages of 1968 Atlantic Oils. Those of you have seen I have the Aaron and the Yastrzemski, one graded and one not. They were gas station rip cards, and one of them had the instructions, and one of them had the play ball back. They'd be side by side like that, and people would rip them to submit them and whatever. These are not high-grade cards. They kind of, as they get ripped, they're ones to start. The really nice rips are 3s and 4s, maybe 5s. But to get Al Kaline and my birthday buddy Lou Brock for basically the price of grading, it's a no-brainer for me. And I was super happy to pick these up. The guy kind of said he took a shot in the dark. They didn't grade that high, and he was just trying to offload them. Happy for me. Got a couple more 68 Atlantic Oils to the collection. I love the reds and blues there, and now I have a couple of each, including with the different backs. The one Topps card I picked up was one that I couldn't resist, one that I've wanted for a long time, and it's the 1963 Power Plus Hank Aaron and Ernie Banks. I realize this looks really good on camera. It has flaws. I got a really good price on it, but just stoked to finally own this card. Two of the best sluggers of their generation, and I own it. This was from a guy named Charlie, who was probably my favorite dealer from the entire show. Really cool older guy that, very much like Chris from Missouri said in one of his videos, let them win sometimes. And he definitely saw my passion and let me win on a couple deals that I'm going to get into now. The first one being a card I'd never seen before and immediately was like, what is that? This is a 1966 RC Cola tab. This is of Steve Whitaker. I didn't know much about Steve Whitaker. I didn't know anything about the 66 RC Colas. Apparently, these tabs were inserted into 6-packs of the soda back in the day. They're of Columbus Yankees, and there was a play-to-win type of contest there for RC Cola, obviously. I don't know if there's any big players in this set. It sucks that it's just a Yankee-exclusive thing. But, you know, Steve Whitaker, he made it to the show, was a league-average player, played for the Yankees, the Pilots, and the Giants. Not a bad career, and a really cool-looking card. So happy to finally own this. I looked up later on and I didn't realize how good of a deal Charlie gave me on it, and I'm really happy to have an example from this set in my collection. The final thing that I didn't notice the first time I looked at Charlie's stuff and gotten those other 2 cards was he had some sets standing up in the back. One of which being something that I didn't realize this is the way it came, the 1969 MLB photo stamps. Much like the Atlantic Oils, these don't have licensing on the caps. I'm going to try to get this in there. But these are beautiful, and I've seen them cut out before, but apparently they were all hand cut. And you can see on the back here, they have dotted lines to cut on, and it says to paste them in an album. I don't have the album yet, but to get all 18 uncut sheets, there was 9 series for the National League and 9 series for the American League. Just really cool to own this. There's a Hall of Famer on 16 of the 18 pages, and many of them have multiple Hall of Famers. Got Stargell and Gibson in the middle row there. Juan Marichal up top. Pete Rose. It's probably the biggest page in the whole book. It's got Aaron, Mays, and Clemente in the bottom. And that's the last page for the National League. Lou Brock and Tony Perez in the top. The American League, Harmon Killebrew on the bottom. Tony Oliva in the top there. Frank Robinson in the middle. Jim Hunter in the middle. And the thing that I read was apparently, there we go. There's 2 versions of this, one with dotted lines and one with straight lines. So this is a type 1 set, which is really cool to have. Type 1 is usually the original, but the type 2 variations don't have anything else different on the backs. It's just the type of lines that were placed for the cutouts. So it was cool to learn more about a set that I'd seen before. I didn't have a single card in the collection yet from this set, and now I have the entire set with the uncut sheets. Really awesome piece. Jim, thank you so much, brother. It was awesome spending the day with you. Great meeting up with Mark and Ed, and I thoroughly enjoyed myself at the Cranston Show and can't wait for the next one. Hope you guys enjoyed. I know at the end, trying to show off that set, I didn't quite do it justice. I'll probably do a separate video on it when I pick up another card from that set eventually. But for now, keep collecting.